Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to the Reading Through the Bible in a Year series. Today we'll be talking about 2 Samuel. So as always, we start with who it is written by, and 2 Samuel is written by Samuel, Nathan, and Gad, which makes sense because that's also who wrote 1 Samuel. And then for my general takeaways from this book, I wrote that chapter 1, David hears of Saul and Jonathan's death. Chapter 2, David is anointed king of Judah. Chapter 5, David is anointed king of Israel. I also wrote we hear of Nathan the prophet in chapter 7, and that David has a prayer of gratitude in chapter 7. Chapter 11 is the story of David and Bathsheba. Chapter 12, Nathan rebukes David. Chapter 15, David flees Jerusalem. Chapter 19, Joab rebukes David and he returns to Jerusalem. Chapter 22, David's song of deliverance. And then finally, the book ends with David's last words and building an altar. So yeah, these are my general takeaways from 2 Samuel. As I mentioned in 1 Samuel's recap, at this point in my journey, I have already finished 14 more books on top of this, so this recap will be as beneficial as I hope to you as it will be to me right now, because I have read so much since I read 2 Samuel, so anyhow, again, these are the general overviews that I took from it when I read it. But moving on into my didn't know / didn't realize section, I only have 3 takeaways for this one. The first one, I wrote that in chapter 9, David was inquiring if there was anyone left in the house of Saul that he may show kindness to them on behalf of Jonathan. He found that Jonathan still had a living son. His name was Mephibosheth, and made sure he was taken care of. Just really goes to show how great his love was for his and now past friend. Yeah, I remember reading that section and being very touched by his wanting to make sure that he was still making an effort towards his friendship with him, even though he was past at that point, despite the fact that his father was so cruel and mean to David. So really just goes to show the strength of the bond that he had with him. The second takeaway I wrote was that in chapter 21, the Bible describes a man from the Philistines, like the one that Goliath was from, who had 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot. I remember reading this too, and I think the reason I wrote it down just was like one of those parts of the Bible that was just like, I just find it so interesting that details like that make it into the Bible, you know? Like, I could be wrong, but I don't think there's anything inherently important about that detail being included, but just the fact that it's included, I don't know, just, it made me laugh. And then the final thing I wrote for this section was that the quote, "The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer," comes from David's Song of Deliverance, which is in chapter 22. Yeah, just generally did not know where that came from, so that was cool to find out where in the Bible that one came from. And then for my favorite verse, I wrote a little note here. I wrote that it's hard to choose. I loved most of the verses from David's Song of Deliverance, aka 2 Samuel 22 verses 2 through 51. And the one that I ended up choosing was 2 Samuel 22 verse 29, which reads, "For you are my lamp, O Lord, and my God lightens my darkness." That's such a sweet and short verse. I love that. Yeah, that's a great verse. I love that I chose that. That's awesome. I can definitely speak from personal experience. There are moments in my life where I have been in deep and dark mental spaces, and truly if it wasn't for the faith that I have in this wonderful, amazing God that I get to worship and get to read about, I would have never gotten out of them, those dark moments. So he has been my lamp too. So that's such a sweet verse. I love that we get to end it on that. That's so great. But yeah, as always, all of these videos are getting added to a playlist. So if you're interested in seeing any of my other recaps from the books that I am reading, I do intend to finish the Bible this year, and I'm hoping to film and edit all of these videos and post them this year, so if you're interested in checking any of them out, that playlist will be linked below, so feel free. But yeah, as always, I hope you guys are having a good day, but if you're not, that's okay too. I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye!